Anyone can write a bestseller, right? Well, Fruit Fly by Josh Silver has a lot to say about that. So this book follows Mallory, a once successful author who hasn't been able to replicate the success of her debut novel in nearly a decade. She's stuck, she's desperate, and she's watching her relevance very much slip away. So naturally, she does what any struggling writer might do. She researches what's trending. And what is selling? Stories about queer identity, stories that are sad, raw, and authentic. Mallory is a straight, married woman in her 30s, and therefore the logical thing to do would be accept that maybe this isn't her story to tell. No, Mallory does not believe so. Instead, she creates a fake Grindr profile using photos of her husband and starts catfishing men. And that's where things start to spiral. So the early parts of this book are almost painfully cringy, but very intentionally so. Mallory is written as this exaggerated, almost caricature level ally in the beginning, and for a lot of it, to be honest. She's constantly insisting that she's supportive, she has gay friends, she belongs in these spaces. But then she's messaging like she's auditioning for RuPaul's Drag Race. It's all like, yes, queen, and slay, and you're reading it through half-closed eyes, kind of looking at it sideways because it's just so awkward. But that discomfort is part of the point, because underneath that surface level satire, there is something much darker brewing. Enter Leo. He's vulnerable, he's struggling, and he becomes the centre of the story Mallory thinks will save her career. But as their lives begin to intertwine, what starts as opportunistic slowly becomes something much, much more unsettling. The book gets dark, like properly dark. What I also found really interesting is how it forces me, or you, as the reader, to question our own role in all of this. Because while we're horrified by some of the actions in this, we're also completely hooked. You want to know more. You keep reading. So it kind of asks, how different are we really? We consume these stories. We're drawn to these terrible events, to trauma, to the real, to the gritty underbelly of people's lives. And the book mirrors that back at us in a way that's properly uncomfortable. If we weren't looking for these stories, would these people be writing them, So at its core, Fruit Fly is asking, who has the right to tell a story, but also who has the right to read these stories, and at what cost does authenticity come? It explores privilege, exploitation, identity, and the way real people's lives can be co-opted for fame, success, and cultural relevance, and it doesn't give any easy answers. The plot itself takes turns I didn't fully see coming, some I maybe anticipated but still wasn't fully prepared for how they played out. It's also very funny at times, which is obviously very important in a very dark story, and there were elements of it that I was properly cackling at. It is one of those books where you kind of want it to end just to get out of the intensity of it, but at the same time you don't want it to end. You can't stop reading because you are very interested and invested in where the story goes. Honestly, I am still thinking about it weeks later. So if you like dark satire, morally complex characters, and books that leave you unsettled but are very thoughtful, I would definitely recommend this one.